panel, I'd like to ask Mr. Damith Pallewatte not to go too far. His is the next speech. As you know, I've already introduced him as part of the panel, but he is the serving CEO of the Hatton National Bank. I would like Mr. Damith Pallewatte to make the next keynote address.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, once again. So maybe we had a very insightful session, but maybe I will share some of the thoughts that I think will be useful in looking at SME segment in a more meaningful way. So this, to a certain extent, elaborate from a bank's point of view. What do we see? What makes a SME more attractive as a growth prospect? So a couple of things that I will explain is practically things that we experience when we are going to deal with SMEs. To start with, if you are talking about rebuilding Sri Lanka with SME as a growth engine, so we need to facilitate them to be the growth engine. One of the key areas that we need to facilitate is we need to provide them with capital and we need to get them to access finance. I think that has been part of the conversation that we had. So one important thing in accessing finance, when you have a business idea or when you are doing a business at a very early stage, how do you bring that proposal to a bank or a financial institution and ask, what do you really want from the bank or a financial institution? How do you make your proposal bankable? What is it that make it more attractive for financing? Sorry about it. So what we have seen over the years, they reach the bank and they start building the proposal afterwards. So I'm not saying it's completely wrong. But if you look at a more meaningful way of building capacity in the SME sector, something that we need to look at is how do you support SMEs to make their business propositions more bankable. So that will help those businesses to access more finances easily. The point number 2 that I would like to highlight is a business that operates in isolation will find it difficult to seek finances. We have seen businesses part of a value chain, the small businesses connected with as a supplier of a large business find it more easily to access bank finance. If I take an example from the agri sector, which a lot of SMEs are involved in. So historically, it is identified as an industry or a sector which toils hard but yields a lower return. But with the technology, now it is seen part of a more sophisticated value more sophisticated value chain where value addition is considered the game changer. A farmer who cultivates and gets the harvest without supplying to the store or a corporate, if he can facilitate how do you add value to that harvest and the produce along the value chain, I think that's where you create a lot of opportunity for business. If you are thinking of driving SME as a force for rebuilding the Sri Lanka's economic recovery, we have seen huge opportunity in that space where the connectivity, collaboration, and being part of a value chain addresses multiple concerns that the industry has. So, the major concern of access to finance getting sorted out. The concerns of getting the knowledge transfer, the technology, the growth scale, all that changes. So what we see in the process, a business that starts small, the ability of that business to grow when you be in a value chain is much larger. Then the third point, so the 2 points we discussed, having a bankable proposition, make it more creditworthy, and then being part of a value chain. The third point we see is access to markets. Where do you get SMEs? Market access. I just heard about the digital platform. So that is one way and very effective way of getting SMEs to access markets. But where are those other networks that operates throughout the country, maybe through chambers, maybe through various other associations? How do you make that business cycles more connected to make sure that they provide access to markets? We don't see around the country much SME entrepreneur from, say, Bibila or Trinco or Mana coming and expanding in the Western province or a Southern province. Because we have 256 branches around the country, and I travel around the country a lot. So those regional entrepreneurs or small businesses either remain in the village itself or in the region itself. Maximum reach is in the same province and other district. But if you look at what they produce, is amazing and fantastic. It's comparable with any international product. So there is a huge opportunity, maybe some of us around here, to make that market access more workable. So the SMEs will understand what is the value of the product or a produce they make. At the moment, the reach is limited. So if you get that market access right, the opportunity for you to reach even export markets are much more. So that is where you create the opportunity. Some of the products that you make, the country of 22 million people has very limited opportunity to expand. So unfortunately, there is no mechanism that a proper guidance is imparted to tell them, look here, there is a market somewhere else you can look at. If you get that opportunity right, I think there are enough small and medium enterprises that we can see scaling beyond Sri Lanka. The core issues or the problems that keep coming up with regard to the capital and access to finance may be becoming secondary issues if we see the opportunity and show the access that they have if they reach beyond a certain level. So what we see from a financial institution point of view, while the banking sector, banking system is working hard to support this sector with so much of challenges, of course, there is immense opportunity that can be created with various organizations and value systems to encourage entrepreneurs to thrive. So that if you bring that idea to the entrepreneur, if you bring that expectation, and if you build their capability to succeed, I think there is enough financial institutions that will come and join hands and partner with them to take the business to the next level. So in short, the 4 points that I wanted to share with you today from a bank point of view, what will make SME more attractive in our journey to rebuild Sri Lanka through empowering SME businesses is there has to be some way to make sure the SME proposition is bankable and creditworthy, so then they have access to credit more comfortably and conveniently than otherwise. Then being part of a value chain, to become part of a value addition cycle than working with a raw product. Then access to markets will make you bigger and scale that you can't imagine at the start of the business. I think if you get these 3-4 ingredients right, there is significant opportunity. And as the country progresses in this recovery trajectory, for SMEs to be holding a bigger part of that growth journey for Sri Lanka. So these are the maybe 2-3 points I would have liked to share with you from a bank's point of view, what will make SME part of this Sri Lanka's recovery journey. Thank you.